Well, hey everyone, Mac here along with Dolphin and Cheryl, and we're so pleased to be with you for our second call this season of Autumn in the Metal Element. And today we want to specifically talk to you a little bit about the associations and the emotions of this particular season. Before we do, as we always do, I want to remind everybody that none of the information presented in this presentation is intended to represent a diagnosis or cure of any illness or disease. And for those of you that are brand new that are seeing this presentation for the first time and maybe don't know a lot about Sunrider, I just want to quickly walk through the fact that Sunrider has been around for over 43 years, making it an extremely stable company. It operates over in 50 countries around the world, allowing any of us the opportunity to have an international business, which you've heard a million times out of me is one of the things I love the most, being able to travel around the world, interact with all of my friends in different countries and kind of experience the way the rest of the world lives. It's just a wonderful opportunity. So again, for each of us, we have this opportunity to have an international business. Now, coming from a pharmaceutical manufacturing background before Sunrider, this next thing was extremely important to me, and that is Sunrider internally handles 100% of all the research and development and manufacturing of its products. And folks, that is really unheard of. Number one, Sunrider manufactures under the highest GMP standards. Number two, Sunrider again handles all of this internally. They don't give a third party a recipe and say, go make my product. They control all aspects of the research, development, and manufacturing over what I believe are over 400 of the world's finest health and beauty products, everything from whole food nutritionals to cleansing beverages to weight management to sports and fitness to green household and are all natural cosmetics and skincare. Um, a little bit further to that is what we call a philosophy of regeneration. And this is where I zip it up and Cheryl, turn it over to you each call. So talk to us a little bit about this philosophy of regeneration.
Thank you, Mac. All of those over 400 products are based on a very simple yet powerful idea that blends traditional Chinese medicine with advanced Western science, and it's called our philosophy of regeneration. And when you nourish your body with only the finest natural ingredients and cleanse of harmful chemicals and artificial colors, flavors, and preservatives, you bring your body back to balance. And we know a balanced body is a healthy body. Now, there's four guiding principles to the philosophy of regeneration. The first one is nourish plus cleanse equals balance. And Sunrider products nourish the yin and cleanse the yang, your body's five systems, to promote balance for optimal health and energy. And number two, we need to eat clean foods, not chemicals. Our products are made with nutrient-rich whole foods and herbs, not synthetic, artificial, or highly processed ingredients. Number three, we need a variety. There's no perfect food or ingredient. Too much of anything can unbalance the body and even damage our health. Our products give you vital variety of wholesome ingredients. And number four, expertise in formulation and concentration. While most companies outsource their manufacturing, we control every aspect to personally ensure potency, purity, integrity, and safety. And Dr. Teifu Chen, our founder of Sunrider, his philosophy of regeneration reflects the core concepts of his knowledge and beliefs, and it's the blueprint of every Sunrider product. And it makes Sunrider simply the best.
I love it. Thank you, Cheryl. That's fantastic. As we discussed in the beginning of this call, we want to talk to you a little bit about some of the associations and things associated with the season. And Finn, I'm going to turn this over to you if I can to kind of start us off on this idea and where we're heading here today.
So yeah, autumn is the emotion in Chinese medicine is grief, as we're the organ systems are the lungs and large intestine, and of course the heart is also an aspect of that just because of its relationship in the body to where the lungs are, and when we feel grief, where do we often feel it? We feel our heart is breaking. So there's always that correlation with the heart as well, and um, it's been interesting this particular season of uh, witnessing clients, friends that are going through some real tough moments of that emotion
Mhm.
and how overwhelming that emotion can be, whether it's losing a loved one, losing a pet.
Mhm.
Um, but Mac, I know you and I were talking, and it can also be a little bit more subtle for many of us. I know up here in the Northern Hemisphere, get a little bit of grief every autumn with the changing of the season
Of course.
because the days are getting shorter. It's getting colder. We're saying we're grieving having to say goodbye to summer. And so it is a natural process, whether it's something very extreme like a death or something more subtle like changes occur coming to the end of the year, coming into, the colder, darker months. And but the process is the feeling is still the same, whether it's something really extreme or not. Our bodies feel and go through it. So we don't want to just say, oh, well, it's not that bad. No, our bodies really do experience and feel that. But it's how do we deal with it? How do we process this emotion so that it doesn't get too far out of balance? So that it's a natural occurrence, it's a natural emotion. But what's not natural is when we just allow ourselves to snowball into it and go into like a deep suffering or a place where we really lose the will to live. And so that can happen with deep grief. And so, as a therapist, some of the suggestions that I make to my clients is first of all, reach out, don't isolate. So, I'm always very happy when a client of mine actually makes an appointment. And I'm like, I don't care if you cry on my table, it's okay. Like, I'd rather you come in and connect. Or even just talk to me on the phone or reach out. So, if you're feeling these emotions, the first thing to do is connect. um, don't be alone. And another thing would be to connect into your source, into that deeper sense of self. And how we can do that is grounding. So getting ourselves out into nature, right? Like putting your back up against a tree, putting your feet in the sand or the grass, just so that you can feel your body will start to feel grounded and alive. And then, of course, breath. So, um, I really encourage people to, if you start to feel yourself, snowballing, just create a pause, just even if it's just for a minute. So, Mac, Cheryl, like if we just put our hands on our heart and onto our lower abdomen, just connecting to our body, and then really just allow yourself to feel where is my breath? And allow that breath to just drop into that belly area and allow it to lengthen and feeling the fullness of the inhale and create a little bit of a pause at the top. And then feel the fullness of the exhale and feel a pause at the bottom. And what this does is it allows us to get out of that sympathetic system, out of that fight or flight, even if it's just for a brief moment, and connect into the parasympathetic, connect into a place where we can feel like we can connect to our higher self. And just to know, even if it's just for that one breath, maybe it's just that one breath and then, oh my God, you go back into it. That's okay. One breath at a time. And knowing that taking that pause will create a little bit of space where there's some hope and some faith can enter into that, where then that might give you just enough space to make a choice of, okay, now I can reach out and call that person, or I can go take a walk, or I can eat something. And again, with grief, we often really, our nutrition just, a lot of people, they just don't want to eat, or they eat the wrong things because they just don't care, or maybe in the brief moment it might bring you a sense of pleasure,
Mm.
but overall it's still not supporting, supporting our true health in our body. So nutrition is also a huge piece. And Cheryl, I speak as a therapist, and uh, but it's nothing like having, a real life experience. And I know that uh, you are very familiar with grief, and I would really love it and appreciate if you would just tell your story of how you worked through it.
Well, thanks, Finn. Sure. Well, back a number of years ago, my son Jimmy died in a car accident, and he was my only child, and he was my life, and he was almost 18 years old, and I just lost it. My heart was broken. I didn't want to be here anymore. I stopped eating, like you said. I stopped seeing people. I pretty much locked myself in his room and would just lay there and cry. And thank goodness I had a supportive family, and they saw the decline in me from this outgoing, happy person that owned restaurants and entertained to a ball in a bed, just crying my eyes out. And my brother took me to a nature path. And I was the one, after many sessions, he introduced me to Sunrider products. And I wasn't open, my brother was, and he got me started eating Sunrider. And in spite of myself, I started to feel better. I started to feel more optimistic. I my body fat had gone up to like 43% because I was in shock and I wasn't nourishing it. And I was a mess. And just the basic program of Sunrider, after doing it for a little while, changed my thinking. So I started to feel more optimistic. After a few months, I went back to working in the restaurants. My body fat went down eventually to 18% from 43. And I started to have people around me that wanted to be with me, and what was I doing? And I started sharing Sunrider and saw it change other people's lives and the things that were happening to them. And uh, it's just my passion now because I see what it can do. Because, like you said, Finn, I've had firsthand experience, and I've had many more since then. And I am ever grateful for my Sunrider family and my Sunrider foods. It's
Mm.
awesome.
Fantastic. Cheryl, I've heard you tell that story many times, and it always impacts me no matter when I hear it. So thank you so much for sharing that, and Finn, for setting this up the way that you did. I mean, grief is a really challenging thing, and I know it all has to do again with someone or something that's gone or is no longer present in our life. And when I look at myself too, it's interesting when you were doing the breath work. When I think of grief myself and the various ways that I feel it, it is in the upper body. It's the lungs, the heart, the large intestine. It's all right here, is where I feel it all the time. And for me, especially this year, I've noticed a number of things. Emotionally, it's been a challenging time for me too in a lot of different areas, and things like the breath work exercise and the journaling and the martial arts and just being out in nature. And heck, I just came back from 10 days at the beach, so I got nothing to complain about. You're right, having your feet in the sand and just kind of being able to let go of things. And for me, I've certainly noticed, I think it's it's kind of a self-worth thing. And I know that the metal element governs self-worth and our self-value. And that's kind of where I've seen it for myself too. I mean, another year's coming to a close. I was looking back at my dream board and my goal list here not long ago, and it's like, oh man, I've gotten some of those things done, but there's a whole list of things I haven't. And I noticed myself kind of grieving the fact that, heck, I'm coming to the end of another year. I haven't done these things that I promised myself I would do. So again, much less, Cheryl, than certainly anything that you've dealt with. But man, I mean, I do feel these things too. And again, there's so many ways that grief can impact us. And I'm glad you kind of turned it around to the foods too, because that's what we kind of like to talk with everybody about next. And I mean, we just picked a few of our favorites that kind of fit with the season and the idea of grief and how we can build our body, mind, and spirit. And I guess Finn, if I can turn back to you, maybe you can kind of kick us off with quinary and talk to us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So quinary is our balancing formula. So when we're feeling out of balance in any one of those organ systems, we want to nourish all of those systems together so that they can support each other. Anytime you have a weak link in one area, you're going to get a cascade effect. So we want to nourish the weakest organ at any given time by nourishing all of them. And then we can also add extra if we want of the individual formulas. But when I was doing a little bit of research on grief and nutrition and herbs, and I just thought, well, let's just see what the internet says. And kind of they listed off some Chinese herbs. And of course, some of those herbs were in the quinary formula. Not surprising because Dr. Chen knows how to formulate specifically for each organ. So things like the poria, which calms the shen, which is resides in the heart. It also supports digestion, and the polygala root. That one lifts mental fog, have clearer thinking, and it eases apprehension, which again, when we're in a state of grief or anxiety, pain, it's hard to think clearly. Uh, so lots of great herbs in the quinary, and then also with the New Plus, I found again there were specific just general herbs, and sure enough, we found them in the New Plus. And one that really stood out was the water lily bulb, and the water lily bulb supports our lungs and heart. Also, it's called foxnut. It I thought this was interesting. It moistens dryness caused by sadness, which I thought was very interesting, and it calms the spirit. So it's helpful for persistent grief and a sense of longing, and it helps promote restful sleep. And I know recently I was listening to a podcast, a Sunrider podcast, and they were talking about eating New Plus right before bed, like not an hour before, like right before bed. And I thought that was very interesting. And again, when we're, in anxiety or grief, sleep can definitely be compromised. So having that New Plus, and I know Cheryl, that these were some of the foods that you started with just to help you get that, like you said, that body fat percentage down, and just when you just didn't want to eat, at least you were getting nourished. So I'll hand it over to you.
So I get to talk about Kali Night. And Kali Night for me is a must. I have it usually during the day, and it keeps me calm without making me tired. And it's like our ease. It eases you through the day. And then at nighttime, Tim and I make it stronger. So I put it in 2 cups and let it steep for 5 minutes or so. And we have it before we go to bed. And it just gives you a more peaceful, restful sleep. And because Dr. Chen is so wise in how he puts things together, he puts the right herbs together in our Kali Night to give us the balance we need throughout the day and help us at night without being tired during the day, but yet being rested during the night. So fantastic product. And all you do, it looks like a tea, and you just steep it and drink it, and it's so easy. And you're doing whole foods, not isolates, which I love as well.
Mhm.
And then, of course, ease. I would be lost without my ease. This is a product that I think every household should have. I know every household in my family and friends have it. And it's a relaxing formula and naturally soothes any anxiety, stress, sleeplessness. And you feel calm, you feel rested, feel rejuvenated, and you're just ready for your day. And the valerian root that's in it alleviates any tension or muscle spasms and congestion, and it's antioxidant rich. And ease is non-habit forming, so you can have as much and as often as you want. And if you're studying or if you are doing a Zoom call and you want to feel calm and to the point, you just have your ease. And ease with Kali Night before you go to bed, oh my gosh, best sleep you'll ever have. Love it. And then Dr. Chen, in his wisdom, created our new Ease Essential Oil. Oh my gosh. This is my traveling buddy now. And it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, if you just want to feel calm and rested, in any conversation or what you're doing, just put a few drops on your wrists behind your ears. You can inhale it, put it in your diffuser, like I have it going now, and it just keeps you very calm. And like Finn was talking about, all those special ingredients and herbs that are used for things like grief and calming people, Dr. Chen knows all about that, and he puts them in our products. So we have, like I said, simply the best products.
Fantastic. Cheryl, I love that you touched on, I think, all of those elements of the philosophy of regeneration that you spoke about earlier just came out in this conversation. For me, I love all the things too, and Quinary is such a perfect example of variety. It's funny when we talk about 400 different products, that's usually what people hear. Oh, that must be the variety you're talking about, but it's not. It's a product like Quinary that has over 50 herbs, flowers, and plants that make up this formula. And it's that formulation and that owner expertise in all of these foods that makes them so special. And I was laughing when you got to the Ease oil because right because you were doing it, I just put some on my wrists and let's see. More sage is what I'm picking up today from my body chemistry, but we'll talk about some of the others in a minute. I guess there's a segue for me into the vitamin D3. And I mentioned a second ago that lucky me, I did just return from 10 days at the beach. And one of my favorite vitamins at the beach is, of course, vitamin C. So anyway, that's that one. But obviously, vitamin D3 is a very important vitamin for a number of reasons, perhaps most so in terms of regulating the absorption of calcium and phosphorus and facilitating normal immune system function, making vitamin D so important for the growth and development of bones and teeth, and of course, improve resistance to certain diseases. One of the other things that's important to know about D3 is it is fat soluble, which means it does require dietary fat to be absorbed properly in the intestine, which is very important. Now, it's interesting when you look around the globe at vitamin D3 deficiency. I mean, it is a big thing. It's a global health problem. It's estimated over 1 billion people suffer from serious vitamin D deficiencies, where up to half the global population doesn't have adequate levels of vitamin D. Now, there's a lot of things that can limit that, obviously. Sunshine, we mentioned earlier, Finn, the days are getting shorter, right? So there's limited sunshine out there. Here in Arizona, I use sunscreen pretty much all the time, except for very early in the morning or very late in the afternoons, because, well, for obvious reasons, I don't want to get burned. So there's sunscreen uses, malabsorption, dietary habits, busy lifestyle. I mean, all of these can contribute to vitamin D deficiencies in people. So let's turn to Sunwriter for a second. In Dr. Chen's ultimate wisdom and his formulation and so forth, he's created, I think, probably the very highest quality vitamin D that we can have, which is our D3. And I'm going to try my best not to mess this up, but he's created in the cholecalciferol form, which is the natural form of vitamin D that the body absorbs from sunlight. So again, Chen's got this locked down. Okay. Now, additionally, we also have safflower oil And I'm sorry, hold on, I lost my sheet here real quick. And what other wonderful, oh, vitamin E, of course, and fractionated coconut oil. Now, all of those things, again, are important oils. And the reason he combined them is so we can best absorb our vitamin D3 into our system. So again, Chin's put all this together for us. Now, if for some reason we just can't get our vitamin D3 or we're looking for other alternatives, sure, there's other things that we can do. I mean, if you like salmon, herring, tuna, sardines, fatty fish, if you will, we can get it from there. Egg yolks, mushrooms, fortified soy products like tofu, soy milk, soy yogurt, and other fortified cereals and juices. So again, there are various ways that we can get it, but I love the fact that we have two options here of our vitamin D3. We have a 1000 IU as well as a 5000 IU version. And again, whether you live in a sunny community like Arizona or not, vitamin D3 is something we should have on our shelves all the time. So glad we had a chance to talk about that one a little bit, because it does kind of, again, bring us back in terms of our spirit and our life and all of those things. Now, I also had a picture up here of our beauty water as well as our Candescent Beauty Bar. And I know we talked about those earlier, Finn, when we were discussing about what products we would get into. And it seems to me that it's going to take us back to maybe some of those ingredients or the components that you were talking about a minute ago, right? Wasn't there something to do with rose or rose extract that was very good in terms of relieving grief? I mean, I know within our Ease oil, rose is one of the scents that can be picked up in the body, again, to help us be eased and relaxed and so forth. Is there anything you would offer about the beauty water or the beauty bar that you think we should share with people?
Well, you did a great job. Yeah, rose is it nourishes the heart, and so it is a calming scent. It's a calming, even eating it.
Mhm.
So like the rose hips or the rose when before they become hips, like when they're just the rose buds,
Right.
also are part of the Chinese system as far as foods that are good for grief. And one other thing with the vitamin D3, Mac, is that there's been studies shown that people that are chronic depressed or have those emotional disorders, they see that they are also very deficient in D3. So that is, at that emotional level, the importance of D3 is, yes, it's great for our bones and our physicality, but it's also really important for our emotional body.
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, fantastic. And I love the way that Chin has formulated these components for us, making it the best, very best product we could possibly have. And one of the things that we'll share about, not on today's call, but I will post about later on, is I know there is a lot of people that think they absolutely have to have vitamin K2 along with D3 for it to be absorbed or to make sure the calcium gets in the right place. Not necessarily with this particular product that Chin has developed for us. But again, we'll talk about more of that in our posts and our follow-up to all of these products that we've had a chance to share with people today. So again, thank you both for the wonderful sharing. And I guess that kind of brings us to the end of our call right now. And I just want to remind everybody, if you're not part of our 5-Element Cycle to Wellness Facebook group, please let us know. We want you to be part of that. That's where we post all of this information, all of the calls. That's where we'll be sharing stuff about what we just talked about. And I guess, again, just where are we heading from here? Our next call will be that transition as we head into winter and water element from autumn. So looking forward to that. And it's just, I've blown away how fast the time is going this year. But man, it just seems like the seasons are just clicking away as they always do, but going much faster than I remember them being in the past. But in any case, a wonderful call. And any last comments, ladies, before we close the call down today?
I would like to say I could listen to you two talk all day long. I learned so much every single time. So thank you.
Back at you, Cheryl. Back at
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's taking time out of your busy day to listen to us talk to you, but we really appreciate this opportunity to be part of what's going on in your lives. And again, we hope you'll give all these products we've talked about a try. And if you do, we know that you're going to have the same enjoyment from them that we do. So anyway, with that said, Cheryl, Dolphin, thank you so much for joining me on this call. Thank you, everybody, to our audience, and we'll look forward to talking to you all again real soon.